Testing. Amitopo.
No, Amitovo? Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, good.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Sunday English Dharma talk hosted by the Sheng Meditation Center. For those of you who may not know the center, the Sheng Meditation Center is located in New York and was founded by the late Chan master Sheng, with the purpose of bringing Chinese Chan Buddhism to the Western world. It's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, our Dharma teacher, Gilbert Gutierrez. And Gilbert is one of the very few Western Dharma heir of our teacher, the late Chan Master Sheng. And today he's going to give us a very special talk. And the topic is One Heart, One Mind, charting the course of the ancient Chan masters. Thank you, Gilbert.
Omitofo. Good hearing from you again, Echo. Today's lecture and the series of lectures are going to be very interesting because I'm not going to approach it from what would be a logical way of doing it and saying that there was Bodhidharma, Weka, keep going down the line until we get to modern day. That would be a very easy way to do that. But I was thinking, what can I bring to you that can give you the flavor of the practice, to give you this taste of Chan. The reason that I picked this topic of this one heart, one mind was throughout all of the readings of the various masters, it is clear they are speaking with one heart and one mind. And we should really even eliminate the word one, just heart mind. The Chinese, I think they have a very good word for that, that just refers to heart mind. And the heart mind is the essence of the Buddha Dharma. And I should say that the essence of the Buddha Dharma is that there's no essence to the Buddha Dharma. There's nothing that can be taught. There's nothing that can enable this body that you call a name to be liberated. There is no enlightenment. But saying things like this sometimes may scare people because they want to have some form of an understanding. And we will get into that as well. But the essence of Chan is just ekayana, this mind. We shouldn't even say one mind, but just mind. And even to use a word to describe it is too much. So Dharma presenters are faced with either being either naive or hypocritical, or lazy in the manner in which they present the Buddha Dharma, because they do not go to this essence. They do not know the shortcut, do not present this shortcut. And as a result, people are scurrying around looking at this, reading this and reading that and trying to feel how it fits in. There's nothing wrong with that. Buddha Dharma doesn't say you should not have anybody that is studying. It isn't against studying. It's against thinking that those words themselves will bring some kind of an understanding. It doesn't work that way. So what the ancient masters did all the way through to today's time is what I do, which is present the Dharma for the purposes of your contemplation. It doesn't do you any good to try to categorize it and put it into some kind of an intellectual understanding, unless you want to present that to other people for their benefit. But for you to try to fathom the essence from that, you cannot. There are many Buddhist scholars. Very few awakened Buddhist scholars, and obviously no enlightened Buddhist scholars. If it was just simply in the words, they would be the first ones. They would be the ones that are pointing to it. Now, of course, there are exceptions, which are serious practitioners in addition to being a Buddhist scholar. And those Buddhist scholars are well worth to listen to and to read. Not to say that the others don't have something of value, but we cannot cling to their understanding. It is what the ancients said, that there must be this true and proper understanding. But it's very funny because we run into those words, and we'll kind of go into that in a moment. But when we say true and proper, then what is not true, and who is understanding? When I was introduced to Buddha Dharma, I was given the Diamond Sutra to study, and I read the Diamond Sutra, and I felt something very amazing from it, but yet I did not understand it. It didn't make sense to me. It didn't do anything but leave me with a big question. When I got to the end of the Diamond Sutra, then the final closing phrases, all that you should think of this fleeting world is a morning star, a dewdrop on a leaf, a flash of lightning in a summer cloud, a bubble in a stream, an illusion, a phantasm, a dream. And I thought, what beautiful, wonderful words these are. What does it mean? I don't know what it means. But I want to know if this is such an important sutra. And at that point, I was a beginner. I didn't even know what a sutra was. What's a sutra? It sounds very exotic, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know where it was coming from. It was just something that somebody gave me a book to read because I was studying Qigong, and the master said, give Gilbert a book to read. What book? Any book. Give him a book to read on Buddha Dharma. And that was the book. And when I read it, it presented more questions than answers. But it was, like Shifu said, in terms of the practice, a very sweet question, like a very sweet candy that stuck on the back of your throat. It is not a bother, except you do want to resolve it because it's stuck there, but it's sweet. And this is the way I have approached Buddha Dharma all of these years, is this sweet candy that just stuck there that I just keep pushing to resolve and to resolve, to resolve. In the beginning, it was a big, giant piece, like the size of a big taffy. Now it's a lot smaller, acceptable, but still there, and still something to resolve, that using this mind, this beginner's mind. And indeed, what was this Diamond Sutra saying? It was saying that everything that we see is like a bubble in a stream. What does that mean? What does that mean? We knock on the desk, we can hear the desk knock, we feel things solid. I can hear the doves outside. I have these senses. How can this not be real? This is something troublesome. And to some people, when they hear this, they have a difficult time accepting it. Or they may move away from it very, very quickly because it is an assault on one, their senses, assault on their thinking, an assault on the self. It is undermining the very principles upon which you believe your existence relies upon. And then you get to a point where there's an awakening and you see this for yourself. And just like Shakyamuni Buddha, I could picture him walking back and saying, how in the heck am I going to explain this? How could I possibly do that? If it was in the words, it would have been easy. Everybody would line up and I would tell them, and then they would be on their way and awaken. But it is not this way. This very mind, not this body, not this world around us, just this mind. Not only that, but it is this mind that creates all of this. This is a dream happening in mind. Now, how do you explain that to people? That gives them faith. And remember, the ancient masters, they have to have you have faith in abandoning everything that you think is real. You look at it and you go, a pen. You call it a pen. Well, it's real. It writes. You call that writing. What do you mean? Is it real? And everything there in this way. Very, very frightening. When I first started out in teaching the Buddha Dharma, my son Ananda would come and listen to my classes. His first meditation cushion was about this big, like this. One of my students made it for him. So you can imagine how young he was when he was there in the class. But he would go to his kindergarten class and tell the kids, you don't exist. You're an illusion. You're not real. So all of the kids, they got frightened because he was so sure about it. You're not real. What? Of course I'm real. No, you're not. His conviction at that point was so strong, it frightened those young children. The principal called me up and to talk to me about what my son was up to. The good thing was that he was a Buddhist. So that made things a lot easier in terms of that. When Shifu heard about this, he laughed and then he said to my son, probably the youngest person that he ever gave a huatou to, he said, what is your original face before you were born? So this is what you have to find. What is your original face before you're born? because he turned it back around on him and said, don't just look at all of the things around you, look inside too. What is real and what is not real? And how do we even determine what is real and what is not real? So there's questions there. And then it is our avocation to try to present this to you while clearly saying, I am not a Dharma teacher. I have nothing to teach. It is not in this way. If you want to go with a Dharma teacher, go to a Dharma teacher. If he says he's a Dharma teacher, something's missing. It is in this way that we have to approach it, to find the ways to present the Dharma to people. And if you don't think this is a Dharma presentation, it goes right to the essence, this one heart and this one mind. All the masters did it in this way. Now, one heart, one mind, you go like that, I guess. And then if you're from Korea, you go like this, the little BTS, I love you. And it's turned into the modern day version of metta. When you sign your letters, metta, I love you, you love me, whatever. It isn't in this way, not this one mind, what I call kind of, it's old now, but Barney presentation where I love you, you love me. The compassion is not in this way. This is sentimentality. The compassion that I'm talking about is one that drives you, makes you think about Sunday morning, what you're going to say that's going to help these people. It's going to help them towards awakening. And it drives you. What can you say of value? What can you do? What can you demonstrate to really make them go and look into mind? This is important, but this is compassion. We don't wait to get some token of appreciation for doing that, or credits or anything. It's imprinted in mind already. It is the demonstration of compassion. It is just in this way. We don't have to think about it. It just happens. This is chant. This is our practice. We know even what we're doling out is the last resort. As Master Han Shan said, if you have to resort to words, it's the last resort, but it's better than nothing. We know that. But I won't sit here and tell you, this is the key, these words, or this understanding, or whatever it is. Compassion is not in this way. There was a story that was a very interesting one I learned, or I heard very early on in my practice. And where there's one young monk, he was studying with his master, and he was the attendant to him, but he was very, very young, just breaking in. And one day he would be watching his master, and his master would sit back, and the people would ask him questions and ask him, and they'd go, well, Shifu, what does this mean? And the master would go, and the people would go, oh my gosh, this is incredible. Thank you for that you went right to the point. This is amazing, very much amazing. Thank you. And so the little young monk, every time he would see this, and one day the master said, I'm going to the village to present a lecture, and everyone is coming with me. Only you stay here to attend the place and make sure if you need to answer the door. Other than that, just be good. Okay, Shifu, that's fine. So he heard a knock on the door, and he went, well, the master said, like, don't really, pay attention to that. Then he heard, and he went, oh, it's getting louder. And then so loud. And so he finally, the little monk, he went and he opened up the door. And there was a man there, an elderly man. And he was saying, I have all of this stuff going on in my head in terms of the Dharma, and I just can't get it out. I need to speak to somebody. I need to speak to the Shifu to help me with this. And he says, Shifu, he's in the village. He's not here. Well, is there a senior monk I can talk to? This is a matter of great importance. He says, there's nobody here but me. And the old man looked and said, you're a monk? And he looks and says, yes. And he says, well, you can help me. And so he kind of pushed his way in and says, let's find a place so I can tell you. So then the little monk, he found a cushion to sit on, and the man was there, and the man kept going on and on and on and on. And the little monk was going, I don't even know these principles. I don't know what he's talking about this Buddha Dharma. I don't know what to do. And so when the man says, what does this mean? And then just in that moment, the little monk goes, and the man became awakened. He was so filled with tears and of joy. And just then the master comes in. And so when he's leaving, the master is coming in, and he's saying to the master, thank you, your protege. He's so brilliant. He's so incredible. I owe him everything. And the master's going, who are you talking about? This little monk right here. And he's going, really? And so then the little monk is kind of like skulking off. And so as the door closes, the master tells him, come in. And so he asked him, what did you tell this man for them to do that? Well, I watch you, and when the people come, most of the time you just go like this to answer their question, and it seems to answer their question. And so he said, show me again how that is. And he went like this. Just then he grabs his finger and he puts it on the table, and he takes a knife and cuts it off. And the monk, of course, little monk in shock, goes running out. A little later on, the master calls the young boy back in. And he asked the monk, tell me again, what did you do to make this person awaken? And he went, I went like, and then in that moment, the little monk became enlightened. It cost him a finger. But look how long this story lasts. And there's some of you going, I'm calling up Child Protective Services. This is not right. This is, this person's going to jail. It's a story, okay? The story is one at first appears to be extremely brutal, but it isn't in that way. It is one that shows a compassion, this great compassion. And it's not the compassion of sentimentality. It's this compassion, this deep compassion of understanding. Of course, don't go around cutting people's fingers off. Robert, your finger is safe. I'm not going to cut it off. I may take your head one day, but not your finger. But the thing is that you have to see here this bitter medicine that's there, that the masters want to separate us from this clinging to this life and being. They want us to move away from that. They all are playing the same tune, maybe using a different instrument, but the tune is the same, of mind, not just mind, one mind, absolute mind, apparent mind, mind without using the word mind, just that's it. We have a difficulty saying goodbye. Goodbye to an ex-girlfriend, goodbye to an ex-wife, ex-husband, ex-lover, whatever it is, goodbye to your car. You trade in a car and you're going, oh no, I'm trading in my car. Whatever it is, a house, anything you say. And then they say, all right, here's where you can enter Chan, but you have to say goodbye to Gilbert. What? What do you mean, say goodbye to Gilbert? Yes, say goodbye to Gilbert. You can visit him every once in a while. You can see him in the mirror, but just don't think that he's real. Well, wait a second. This is not what I signed on for. I signed on so that I wanted to become enlightened. I want Gilbert to become enlightened, to have a halo around his head, looking like forever tanned and forever content. No, that's not the Buddha body, but that's what I want. Now, how are you going to teach people when they have this kind of an attitude? It's not so easy. One has to use so many different kinds of expedient means to be able to do this, to be able to overcome this kind of an attitude. But that is what the Dharma presenter is dealing with. The Dharma presenter is given, here is a book. Okay, what am I going to do with this book? Do I just read the book to them? And then what if I did that? And I opened it up and I went, oh, well, here's a story about Hui Ning. And Hui Ning, when he was hiding away, and he had taken the bowl with him, and he was being chased by Hui Ming in the forest. And when he went to the forest, Hui Ming caught up with him. And then he tried to lift the bowl and the robe from the rock that it was left on by Hui Ming, and he could not do that. Finally, he said, I did not come for the robe or the bowl. And he said, I came for the Dharma. And in that moment, then Hui Ning appears. This is all written in here. I could read it to you. And he said, please teach me the essence of the practice. Hui Ming understood something. He understood who can put a bowl and a robe on a rock that he, a strong warrior, could not lift. There's more going on here than meets the eye. So he's realizing the superior ability. And so he earnestly wants to know. Hui Ning says to him, without thinking of what is good, without thinking of what is evil, what mind is that? Hui Ming, because of his condition to practice, his good condition to practice, it was like being hit on the side of the head. Whap! And he awakened in that moment. Amazing, right? Now you tell me, why didn't you become awakened when you heard the story? And you want me to present the Dharma to you. You should have already all been awakened just by listening to this story. If it was so easy. But this is a two-way street here. Even though we know that there's not this way or that way, you see, that's where words get messed up. But you have to help me. Not help you, help me, help you. Help me. There's a lot of you out there. There's a lot of you that are sleeping, that want to be awakened. Some of you don't want to be awakened. Some of you just pull the covers over and go, oh, you know, I'll hit the alarm, you know, next lifetime. So you have the snooze alarm for next lifetime. Poof. You don't want to listen to it in this lifetime. How do you present this to people? I mean, Hui Ning said those words 1,300 years ago, and they're in print over and over. But if it was in the words, as soon as you read it, you could get it. So how does one present this Dharma? It's not so easy. And don't think about this, that this is Gilbert's pity party as to saying, oh, it's so hard to be a Dharma presenter. I don't think in that way. What I think about is, how can I use expedient means to present to you this essence of mind? And using this word essence of mind without you holding on to either the term essence or mind. You see, it's a very, very interesting approach, because if somebody told you, I want you to teach mathematics, okay, I can teach mathematics, until they tell you, I want you to teach quantum physics. And you go, well, wait a second, quantum physics is like way out there. Yeah, but can you teach it? I don't know if Michael is here or not, but I'm wondering, can quantum physics really be taught? I mean, to a certain point of empirical knowledge, but it's beyond that. If it's not, it wouldn't be quantum physics. You see, it's kind of very interesting. And in this, in terms of us doing this, we have to constantly be bringing the people to a point that there is no resolution via any true or proper understanding. The true and proper understanding is that there's no resolution via true and proper understanding. Huh? That's what I'm selling. That's what I'm selling. I'm presenting it now and bringing it all out like some kind of a Washington Confidential. I'm blurting everything out, like that one attorney Cohen. You know, now he's coming clean, if you can call it clean, with all the secrets of what was happening, for the whatever reason. But the truth be told, we have the three jewels: the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And we give praise to the three jewels, and rightly so, we should give praise to the three jewels. But two of them belong to samsara. If you look anywhere in the Buddha realm, if you found the jewels of the Dharma and the Sangha, it would belong to samsara. It doesn't go any further. So if you go there and you're trying to get in and you die, and you go, the Sangha and the Dharma, I'm here, I can get in. 2 out of 3 is not bad. No, those are not real. Only the Buddha. And we cannot say that the Buddha is real. As against what? What are you going to put the Buddha up against? If the Buddha never been born, never been created, just this mind, without me saying just this mind. So whatever I'm saying today, forget about it. Just go to the essence of that. You understand? Now, if you understand, throw it out. It is just this way. You see, it's so easy to present the Dharma. Oh, I could do that. I mean, I could go through Hui Ning and go through every line and do everything. And you would be a very good scholar of the Platform Sutra. But what then? Maybe you can penetrate. And if you awaken, you'll realize there's not an ounce of Dharma in that sutra. Not an ounce that will save you when you take your last breath. The faith, the strong faith, is faith in mind. Of course, we have faith in the Dharma and faith in the Sangha. But all of that is directed to mind, to the Buddha mind. It is important that when we begin to practice Chan, that we have this orientation, this understanding, the true and proper understanding, so that we will not be looking for it somewhere else. One of my favorite sayings these days is Master Ling Chi, who says, people today are so confused, they cut off their head and then they go looking for their head. Contemplate that. Is this what we're doing? My job is to keep people directed towards mind. Now, very interesting. Yesterday, one of you, I won't name him, but Robert was saying stuff, texting some stuff online, I think. And I kept correcting him and calling him a parrot and going at him until one of you, who knows, Wei Shang Hu, oh yeah, that was his name, Hu, was saying, take it easy on him, he's well-intentioned. And then I blasted him too and saying, what do you mean take it easy on him? Why do I want to take it easy on him? I'm not trying to awaken Robert. Robert is an illusion. Don't you see that? You have to see that. It's why they say to turn the mind's eye inward. In fact, I was exhibiting an incredible amount of compassion with him because I was extremely busy doing other things at that time, but yet taking the time to answer his responses and how he was waxing. And Robert loves to wax poetic about his understandings. So I have to back him off a little bit to get him back to just mind. This is someone that is not lazy. Robert is not lazy, so he's worthy of that. So I spent the time with him because it will pay off in the future. I'm not going to, like if you went to Las Vegas and put money in, it's been like maybe 40 years since I've gone to Las Vegas, maybe more. You're putting money into a slot that's dead. You know, there's no reason to do that. But one day it will pay off with it. No, and it's paying off already. But one day, you know, he's worthy of that. And this is what you do. This is compassion. You take the time out of your day to help others because this is the way it is. And you're using this mind in the proper way without thinking about, Gilbert, you have so many things to do. Why are you bothering with this parrot? No, he's worthy of that. No, not only that, but he serves as an example to all the people who are listening to this exchange, that without him, they would not know this. But he's getting closer and closer, and you watch. This is how you present the Buddha Dharma. This has been happening since the very beginning with the Bodhidharma and Hueka. No, bring me your mind and I'll settle it. I can't find my mind. Well, then it's settled from the very, very beginning. It was in this way. This is just the way it is, without thinking of good or bad. What mind is that? What? So that's happening then 1,200 years later. And another 1,300 years later, we're speaking about that now. This is Buddha Dharma. This is how we practice. Unfortunately, I've only gotten to 2 lines of my prepared text here. So let me see. I better go back onto it. I remember something very interesting. After my first retreat, I became inspired. And I actually wrote a book. And I gave it to Shifu, who gave it to people to read, you know, who all went kind of like, for whatever reason, different reasons. Some of it wasn't very well put together because I'm not a book writer per se, an editor. The content was good, but it wasn't all put together right. But one day Shifu was coming in and he had told me, Gilbert, you know, I don't know about you. You took my words and then you wrote a book. You're just using my words. And, you know, why would you do that? And it didn't bother me. I just looked at him and went, that's a fair statement to say. I resemble that remark, you know, and I just took it all in. I'm going, okay, fine. Because it wasn't so much that writing the book and I want it published and I want, you know, everybody to throw me garlands of flowers or whatever, burn incense in my name. It was something I had to do at that moment that was driving me. And later on, I was reading, and Shifu had done the same thing. And his master had castigated him for using his words and saying to him, well, he wasn't going to call him Shifu at that point. So he would say, you young whippersnapper monk, you took all my words and now you're writing my words. This is all we have from the very beginning, all the way through, from Shu Yun to Han Shan to Bai Zong, Matsu, to Hui Ne, Huika, the Dhamma. We're all using the same language, same words, same weights. We just changed it around a little bit. But the idea there is that this is something that's that's very important for us to understand, that we carry on this way. The reason I'm saying this is not to tell you, okay, yeah, I wrote the book. It doesn't matter. What matters is that this is the way it is. And even when you get to a certain level, there's still the pecking. There's still the honing of the steel to make it more tempered, to hammer it. And you do that. And you do this because this is what you need to do to bring forth the best in your students. Sometimes, especially in the very beginning, I hammered too hard to those who did not have proper skill set, and then they lost their interest. I remember doing that once, where there was a new person, and he said, "I don't understand." And I said to him, "You will never understand." And he thought that I was insulting him. And it was just the wrong time for me to say something like that. So I vowed that I was going to be more careful, to use the expedient means, to know who to push and what to say, and try to have this compassion guide body, speech, and mind in terms of this practice. And in this way, it comes out better. So in some ways today, what I've been presenting to you is how to be a Dharma presenter without being a Dharma teacher. By looking at it in this way, then you can become a better student or practitioner. There's a saying in Spanish that in order for one to know how to be a mother, they have to have a child. So they don't understand the mother's responsibility till they become a mother as well. And then they say, in order to know what to be as a grandmother, you have to be a mother. It's kind of a thing saying you have to experience this. And so as you begin to experience the practice, this is where it pays off. And the more that you put aside the idea of the self, and you simply present it from the viewpoint of mind, you will not go wrong in what you're doing. But it's important that we understand this, and we understand when we come to a lecture like this, Gilbert, he may teach you the ABCs, but by the end, he's teaching you quantum physics. This is the way it should be. And maybe you don't like that, but it's something that's necessary. It is this bitter elixir that we take, but simply to go, what am I, or who am I? Forget about who you are. I'll tell you right away, you're just a bunch of flatulent gas, and you're not going to make it smell any better. There, that's taken care of. Now let's get to practice. Who thought about that? This mind. Who made that gas? We need to go to the source. We need to look into mind. This is what our practice is. This is when they talk about ekayana, they're talking about just mind, that we put ourselves there. The ancients talked about turning the mind's eye inward. Turning the mind's eye inward, meaning turning away from the phenomena, so that one's perception is such that when the eye turns back, everything is precisely where it should be. It's correct there. We understand it. And when we look at this world from the time of its existence, really, you're going to use that kind of an argument. Well, humans been around for what? Maybe 60,000 years, and probably 40,000 of those they were still walking on four and scratching their bottom in public. There are beings that are 600 million years old. And we want to say that we are the creators of the universe, that we are the most important aspect of it. In the context of time, we're a snap of a finger of time. So we have to look at this with the true and proper understanding. Get a realization of what we are. Today is a kind of a mixed bag of medicine, but it will help. And we'll go back to the regularly scheduled program next week. But this is something that I think I really needed to go through. And actually, my lecture was this, but in my head, in terms of practicing that. And since I wrote, I might as well go through a few of these things with you. Getting back to Shifu and this thing where he was saying these were my words, my idea was, well, whose words? In fact, who owns these words? Who lays claim to these words? This, and we talk about this one heart, and there's not even one. Is there a place where the one returns to? What? The one, you're talking about one heart. Where does it return to? What is that? Is that something? Is it? And if it's a thing, is it real? And how do we define reality? Something that appears or something that stays? And if we define reality as something that stays, then we know we have to go to the unborn and uncreate as the Buddha mind. But all these things appear in the Buddha mind, so does that make them real as well? Or not real? What? What is the question? Actually, that's a statement, not a question. What is the question? Keep asking it. What? What? Ancient masters begged you to ask that question. If not what, who? What is it? Shh. I will tell you in the year of the donkey. Indeed, all these years, has the price of rice gone up in China? And you answer now, or I will give you 30 whacks. And if you don't answer, I will give you 30 whacks. You're hanging on the edge of a cliff by a rope held in your mouth. Beneath you, there's a tiger waiting for you. Your life depends on you speaking. Do you understand? Master Han Shan mentions that speaking is the last resort. So what is it that we practice? Practice itself is the practice. Just this moment, being clear, aware, knowing what is arising in mind. It is said to burn oneself up in the present moment. The Buddha is in the present moment. Where? Where? Do you see the Buddha? Look around you at this moment. Look around your room. What is this? Where you're at, what is it? Look carefully. Don't miss a thing. Where did this come from? Look around your room. What is in here in this present moment? Alive or dead? Moving? Static? Who sees this? Is it a product of your eyes? Then what are your eyes a product of? Is it real? Or is it just consciousness? If consciousness, whose consciousness? You? Where did you come from? Where are you going? I said, where are you going? Why do you listen to yourself? What can the self teach you? Does the self have vision? Where is this vision? Who has vision? Right now, who? You cannot know mine, but mine knows you. Chan is practicing in the present moment based on sound Buddha Dharma. But not relying on Buddha Dharma. What? We cannot rely on the Buddha Dharma. How is that? We already talked about the three jewels, and only the Buddha is mind. Dharma, Sangha belong to this world. Only the Buddha is beyond. Beyond, more like the Dharma and the Sangha are within Buddha. And we say, to know all the Buddhas of the past, present, future, perceive that all Dharma Dhatu nature, all phenomena, is created by the mind. Never forget this. Never forget that. Even the future? Yes. How was it that Dipankara Buddha would predict that Shakyamuni Buddha would be a Buddha in another lifetime? So is this already been played? Are we just a pre-recorded program? Do we have a choice? Do we? Do you understand that? Contemplate. Not relying on a thing, not even a thing thinking about a thing. To not think was the admonition of the ancient masters. So misunderstood. Wu Nian is not a thing and not a non-thing. Just a clear mind. This is very much misunderstood. when we think of Wu Yin, this no thinking, Master Hui Ning clarified it to us that we are in the process of Wu Yin even when we're thinking. But again, this is something that must be approached by the true and proper understanding to see that all things that are appearing within mind are governed by mind in one way or another, because they're connected dependently. When we understand this is how mind works, now we're doing mind work. We understand all of these things are related. They are nevertheless appearances, illusions, phantasms, and dreams. It is just in this way when we see things, we see them correctly. It is not easy for us to abandon our reliance on this world and being happy or being sad. But that's what you get. You get a mixed bag here. And what happens when you get older? You go, well, wow, maybe I've got these many years. I've already gotten this illness and this one, and who knows what else I'm going to get. So there's a dissatisfaction here. But as long as you have a breath, you can practice. You can get it in the very last moment that you're there, if you're sincere, and you can practice. Don't give up. Don't think, oh, this is too deep, or why do I even bother? Or rather just go back to reciting the Buddha's name and showing up for the Vesak day and bathing the Buddha or whatever. You can still do that. Just don't give up. Have faith in mind. We'll continue this next week, but I wanted to give you this kind of an orientation as to what the masters were facing in terms of trying to present Buddha Dharma. Because what I've seen in their wonderful writings is they're all true. They're true to mind. And they're true exhibiting and exhorting you to practice well and to practice correctly. And this is something so special. And I feel an obligation to try to rise to that level. And to this incredible obligation also to continue this in a way in which modern day persons can perceive this and embrace this kind of a practice. This is something that is probably the most important. When Shifu bestowed on me Inca, I did not feel happy. I did not feel like, yeah, I got it, Nothing like that. All I thought about in that moment was my life will change. Because what he's doing is he's saying, you are going to bring this forward. So whatever you got on your calendar in your life, make sure it includes all of these activities as well. So the only thing I could think about in that moment was, this will change. This will change my life dramatically. And it did. I don't regret it one bit. It is just something that must be done. And I'm hoping for the future generations that this exhortation will give them the energy to go forward and the faith to go forward. I'll stop there. Thank you, Echo, for not cutting me off and giving me the sign, but we'll take some questions.
Thank you, Gilbert. Really, it's such an important, you set the stage for us to really listen to the following talks with the right mind and right attitude. Now, I think we only have time, maybe just one question, because we have to end it at 12:20. So if Question, please open your mic and or raise your hand. Thank you.
No questions. Again, it's like a junior high dance. Nobody wants to go out there and dance first. It can be comments as well.
Maybe I can say something.
Go ahead.
I really want to say thank you, Gilbert. This is something so important, and it's so difficult to do what you do, because this is something that is ultimately is the way, and it is something we really need to get it. And so I really, really appreciate teachers such as your quality and your dedication want to really talk about mind, which is really not talk. You can't talk about mind, but you continuously never give up and just persist. And this very, very, very so difficult, hard to fathom kind of subject to bring to people like me, ordinary sentient beings, full of vexations and all that, cannot see anything clear, and yet you don't give up on us. So really want to say thank you and show my gratitude to you. Thank you, Gilbert.
I would say one thing back, some of us have not been given the best lives and best fortunes, but there are people such as you that have, I would call you a wild rose, someone that has overcome a lot of adversities and has remained true and really has a great affinity with the practice and radiates this wonderful beauty. And never forget that you have this incredible beauty from within you that I've seen from the very first time I met you. And like I say, it's like a wild rose, even though it's out in a hard environment and so harsh and undergoing the winters and the dry spells or whatever, it still shines.
Thank you, Gilbert. Harry has one question.
All right.
Hi, Gilbert. Not a question, but a comment. Just wanted to thank you again. I'm a Dharma teacher, and boy, when I listen to you, I get very cautioned, because I'd love to grab onto mind, but it's very slippery. And, Shifu always used to say when something would occur to him, some great revelation, he'd say, "This is not my destination." So it's something I really take to heart. So I just wanted to thank you.
And you're probably one of the prime audiences for this kind of a lecture, because it goes both ways, those who are listening and those who are presenting, and to be honest about it, not to be phoning it in, and really, really working to try to get people to get this right view. You of many people, but you're a very good testament to that. Once you get right view, you really took off, and that's something that I would put your Dharma understanding up against anyone now. I mean, you really are getting there in terms of this profound understanding.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nobody has questions today. You all, my screen on my big computer froze up, so I only see a few of you there.
I think Melanie rose her hand, and Zhao Ming also did that. So Melanie, you want to unmute yourself?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Gilbert, for your words. It's really inspiring for me to listen. I had my first go at reading the Diamond Sutra, and what came to me was this confusion I usually have, which is not seeing people as whole, and then getting entangled with the illusion that is real. So I've been trying to like withdraw in my practice, not withdraw, but like go in slowly. And I've slowly gone a bit more calm. And so my confusion is to how to approach people from this right view and remain objective and not get too entangled when things happen or things go certain ways which we judge as good or bad.
When and what you're mentioning now is more important than sitting on the cushion, which is how we use right view in our daily practice. In our daily practice, we use right view from first a great patience. So we have to have a patience with people to understand that there is an affliction, what we call guest dust affliction, that governs how they perceive the world, how they function in the world or non-function in the world. And we understand that. This is very, very important for us to have this kind of a patience, because we were there just a couple of heartbeats before them. And so it is our practice. And so we have an interest. We don't have to go around and knock on people's door and go, Buddha loves you. Do you want to hear about Hui Ning? I've got it set to this page here. We are more hands-on than that. What we do is every moment we try to harmonize, and every moment we try to improve the environment. Remember, the environment is not just the environment, the physical environment, but it is the mind environment. And since there is just mind, what is appearing in others' mind is appearing in and what we think is all appearing in mind. So this is where the union is, with this one heart, one mind, is just a correct understanding about it. It's not my heart is like your heart, I love you type thing. No, it is your mind and my mind without your and my in there. It's just mine. When the mind is so attuned, it naturally wants to alleviate the afflictions in the environment, whether the afflictions are physical afflictions or mental or emotional afflictions. Those are important. So we use our wisdom and our compassion to make this connection with people. Okay, but this is how we do it. So your practice is your everyday practice. Improve that, and your sitting practice will have no problem whatsoever. This is a very good question. Thank you.
Okay, we have time for one more question. I think Zhao Ming raised her hand quite a while ago. And Michelle, I saw you raise your hand. Maybe you can save your question for next time. Sorry about that.
Gilbert, first I would like to say, every time you talk, just move me. I don't know how to say that. That just make me in my feet, my tears. And today, while I listen to this, I have question is why I practice. When my mind have some thought come up, like today, I could see before the faith. That's because I suffering. I have this greed actually to want to get rid of this suffering. That greed made me looking and when I believe that Dharma, so I have the faith. My question is, when I practice, when I see those, do I need to write it down to know my mind at that point, or just watch and let go and let go? That's my question. Thank you.
When we utilize right view practice, it is a foundation for everything that we do, say, or think. It is not something that we need to have at the forefront of our mind. It is just like the Platform Sutra. It is just in that way. This sutra here, why is it a Platform Sutra? Because it gives us the platform upon which to practice. And then everything from there happens naturally. When we have this kind of a natural approach, it's the naturalness from the mind. The mind in that moment, if we're doing, is awakened. The trick is just to continue to keep the mind awake. So when we use the mind, it naturally will utilize the wisdom, its inherent wisdom, and derive further wisdom from this inherent wisdom and this power. And we use this incredible mind power to change the environment. And it touches people. So the words that I say, the way at which I say it, the mind itself, the transmission from mind itself, you feel that, you feel touched by that. There's nothing that prevents you from doing that with other people. You just have to have the faith on this and practice in this way and let everything happen naturally. Everything that appears, it's natural. This is what the Buddha taught, dependent origination. Okay, so you can practice in that way. So next week we'll continue on with some more of this, and we'll get into it. But I just wanted to kind of throw you a very interesting class to give you food for contemplation. So please contemplate and please see and take care of your environment. Be very aware of it. Okay.
Do you want to lead us to transfer the merits for today's talk?
You can, if you don't mind doing it, that's fine. If that's what you do, that's fine. I would like to do that. And we transfer merit to all of the people, especially the people in India that are suffering so terribly, that we hope that they and their country will not go asunder from the horrible COVID that they're experiencing right now, that they can maintain order in their society. And we pass it on to all those who are ill, infirm, or either physically or emotionally.
Thank you, Gilbert. Now join your palms. Let's bow to Gilbert. Thank you him for giving us this talk. Thank you, and hopefully we will see you all next week. Have a good rest of the day. Thank you.
Amitofo, take care.
Thank you, Gilbert.
Thank you, Gilbert.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Thank
Gilbert.
you. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Appreciate it,
Gilbert.
Thank you, Gilbert.
As always.
Thank you, Gilbert.
Practice, remember, practice.
All
Okay,
right.
bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I think they're hungry. They want to eat. Bye-bye.
Oh, Ian's gone. Okay. I am gone.